What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of Rise, Bring Me Stanton. Today we are talking about the parents' decisions to get rid of all of the alcohol in the house. We're talking about Gordy and Gwen's blossoming relationship, and Lillette taking on more adult responsibilities. Plus, we have a very special guest, Diallo Riddle, in the house, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
And this is like really high energy right now.
Yes.
And the reason why we have such high energy is because of our special guest today.
Woo.
Before we tease him and we introduce him, let us introduce all of you guys.
Hi, I'm Becca.
Hi, I'm Chae.
Hey guys, I'm Taylor Gates.
What's up, what's up? It's your boy, Jay Yang, in the house.
And I'm Mina, and our special guest is right over here. Introduce yourself, Diallo.
I'm Diallo Riddle, a.k.a. Andy Cranepool from Rise.
Woo! So we didn't see much of him on the show today.
No,
but
it was
this
almost
is
like,
perfect.
where's Waldo? I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
know.
I should have really been here the previous 2 episodes when I was all over the place. But I'm very excited because I was able to watch with you guys and see some things develop that I have strong opinions on. But we'll get to
We're
it.
ready.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Very excited to talk about that and see what your opinions are.
Yep.
What were your overall thoughts about this week's episode?
There's a lot of kissing, a lot of couple action going on,
A lot of teenage
which
angst.
is pretty fun. I like ships. I like some ships.
I was right, but I'm pissed now. And we will talk about why.
Yeah.
Later.
I know it's the Simon thing. I
You
can
know it
already
is.
like feel it like radiating off of you, the anger and the frustration.
Just like,
Pretty
why?
angry about that too.
I'm just so excited that we got to see Tracy in a more like mentoring, like
Yeah.
a maternal role because I love like inspiring teacher stories, and so I'm like all for those storylines, and I was really excited we got to see her in like a different light. We're getting to see a lot of different sides of her lately, which has been really cool.
Hey, what did I say last week in terms of predictions? Didn't I say someone was going to be pregnant?
You
And
just talk
look
about
what
the character.
happened, right? Someone is pregnant, and I feel like I got to say Simon. He just has so many options. You know? Like, I feel
No.
like he has a guy pining over him. He's, into this girl. So I'm just like, I got to give it up to Simon.
Everyone loves
Lies.
Hot
it.
commodity.
What?
Lies.
Lies? What
You're
do you mean
saying
lies?
fake news.
Fake
Fake
news?
news.
All right,
Fake
we're gonna
news.
have to get into that later then.
Hey, everyone wants to be with Simon.
I mean, he's a good-looking guy. Not as good-looking as the guy
Diallo
sitting next to
Riddle.
me, right next to me. I mean, he does have that
Fair
teacher thing
point.
going on.
If
but-
your TV seemed a little dark this week, it is only because the light has gone out. No, it's funny what you say about Tracy because I feel like we've seen like many different sides of Tracy. Like in the beginning, she was very disappointed that it wasn't even her play. I like to think that I got to draw out a little bit more of her
Exactly.
story. When I found out that she was very single.
Yeah.
So and you say a lot of kissing. Well, what's interesting about that is that I've done some acting on some other shows. I played an attorney on Silicon Valley. I play almost an asexual nerd on Marlon. But these episodes that I've done on Rise have been some of the first times I got to play sort of a romantic character. And fun fact, my first on-screen kissing. So
First
you know,
on
yeah,
screen
very
is with
first-
Rosie Perez.
Yeah, you
I know.
can't really do much better than
Fly
that.
girl.
It's all downhill from here.
So last week we had harped on the fact that you basically used the word luminous.
Yes.
Okay, so I
Game.
need to know how many times have you used that in your real life
Oh.
to pick up chicks, and how many times has it worked? Or if it's not luminous, what are the
Here's
words
the
that you
unfortunate
use?
truth. I have not used it in my real life, and now that I've seen the reaction online to Luminous and all the people tweeting, I mean, I'm like, man, I could have had a much more active social life had I been breaking out the SAT words earlier in life. But no, it was something that was, I believe, used in the book, and one of the cool things about being on a show like this is that because it is based on a book, the author of the book, Michael Sokolov, I believe how he pronounces it, reached out to me on Twitter. And was just, really excited. And he said, wow, I'd really love to see you and Rosie on camera together. Like, this is really how I envisioned it when we wrote it. And he likes the fact that, I think he also likes the fact that we can put Luminous on the map,
Awesome.
Is
No
it,
telling what other vocabulary words we might be able to break out.
Radiant
Is it
was in this
weird
episode.
or-
Radiant
is it,
is another way.
is it weird or cringeworthy to watch yourself kissing on screen? Like, how do you feel watching that
Depends
back?
on the kiss, man. Depends on the kiss. No, there was one kiss. I was like, hey, because I'm married, I like poked my wife. I was like, hey, get jealous. Look at that. Barely acting. And then there was like another kiss where I was like, oh, gosh, come on, man. Like, loosen up a little bit. No, it is interesting because you also, every kiss meant something different between me and Jen. Like the first one was like that awkward end of the first date kiss.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been there, some of us more times than we care to count. The end of those first dates could be very strange. And I think that came across quite successfully. I am very method.
Yeah.
That was also the first time that I had kissed Rosie in real life. But then when we kissed again in the classroom, like that was a little more hot and heavy. Both people were really into it. I think, she was a little shocked the first time on her porch.
So
So
general consensus, Rosie Perez, good
Yes.
kisser, bad kisser.
No, you didn't.
I just did.
No,
That's all
it
I
was
know.
the elephant in the room.
That's
It was the elephant in the room, and fantastic kisser. Here's the thing. Stage kissing, as we know, is like, kind of interesting. You have to feel your way through it. But no, she's her stage kisses are they will melt your heart.
Aw.
So your wife's like good, like she doesn't mind when
Your
you
wife's
have to
like-
kiss another woman.
See, that's the
Yeah.
type of passion that we need between Gail and Lou, who we obviously
No.
yeah.
But they're married though.
They
I mean,
have
that's the
to
thing.
kiss
That's
another
true.
woman.
They don't have any passion. You're married.
No,
They've got
no.
a teenage
fine.
son. Cut him some
I
slack.
know, right?
I have something to say on that fact. I feel like when you're married, like you get to like that shelf period where sometimes you have to like realize like, okay, we're kind of like stagnant, and how do we get like over that stagnant feeling that we're doing right now?
I'm sorry. Is anyone else married besides our
Besides, yeah.
guest who would know about this?
But I don't like he.
I will say,
everyone's
look.
marriage is
My
different,
parents-
okay?
Look, when you're dating, you're like kissing all the time. When you're like married, you're like, oh, look at us, we got rings. Like you're kissing all the time. Like I'm coming up on my 9-year anniversary. Like
Aw,
it's
that's like
it's
50
very
years
it's very
in
awe.
Hollywood.
But then you have to like beef it up a little bit. It's just like like who's ordering the candles this week?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there with that.
Well,
Like, can we?
It's after buzz. It's not after dark.
the good news is though,
We joke about
even
that a
though
lot.
Lou and Gail aren't necessarily like in that stage of puppy love, the good news is I feel like they are trying to rekindle that
Yes.
connection right now.
He brought her
And-
Chinese. That is
Yeah.
something. That is so
That's
sweet.
that's
And
a
you
lot
bought
coming.
$6.99 wine,
That's,
and you took me on a picnic.
a
And
lot.
now let's
Yeah.
get it on.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
that's all that she needs. That's all that there needs to be. But I do love that they're on the same page with getting rid of all of the alcohol, and it definitely is indicative of it's a new chapter, new measures are being taken. It's just like a clean start, a fresh slate. What do you guys think? You think like we're getting on the right track finally? Do you think it's going in the right direction, or
I mean, I think it's been hard for them because they are having to deal with kids right now, and like when you're a parent, you have to devote more time and energy to your kids than to your significant other.
Yeah.
As like, I mean,
kids
my
become your
parent-
main priority?
Yeah,
At
my
what
parents
point are
did a
they-
wonderful
yeah.
job raising me, and my sisters, who all three of us were in high school at the same time, so they could probably tell you. Yeah, they could probably say a lot on this subject.
Definitely a lot. to
I'm actually
juggle.
a little bit curious. Did anybody here do music theater?
Yeah, I did.
Who did? You did. You guys
I
did.
did theater,
music
yeah.
I did when I was little, but not in high school. I wish.
I got kicked out of my high school play.
What
actually.
what happened? What
I mean,
happened there?
I don't want to go into too many details, and I don't want
No,
this to be
change the
really-
names. Protect the innocent.
Well, no, I just, I was on stage, and he thought that I was either too reckless or too clueless. So I was playing a homosexual character, and then he was like, he didn't like the fact that I took that risk without consulting him. So he's like, I can't trust you on stage, which is
What was
not,
the risk you took? I'm confused.
Oh, it was just weird. I specifically said, Steven, you're as stiff as a sailor, and he didn't like the way that I said it. So I mean, it was like it was a really, really long time ago. But I mean, I feel like when you do musical theater, like you have to take risks and you have to know your
Absolutely.
character. But at the time when I was a freshman, like I was just like, well, what's the big deal? And he's like, I can't trust you on stage. And I was like,
Guy's
okay.
got trust issues. It
I
sounds
know,
like. Sounds
I
like
know.
serious. I will say that almost every actor on the show, myself included, did do some theater, and I think that it's really cool that a show that attracts like a strong theater geek, fan base is there. Like I've had people, colleagues who are actors or even like people at the studio just say like I haven't seen a show that sort of captures specifically like Glee was its own sort of
Yeah. Dark
show.
humor, Ryan Murphy, like
Yeah.
type thing.
100%, but like I feel like this show sort of catches it in a very real, grounded
Friday
way.
Night Lights.
Friday Night
style.
Lights approach to music theater that sort of like reminds everybody who did it how cool it was, but
Yeah.
also people who are doing it that like you're dealing with
Yes,
some stuff that
everything.
like it wouldn't surprise me if there was an episode where a guy gets kicked out because it's like, oh, I don't trust you. Like that would be right in line with everything that we've seen.
I mean, I love
Spoiler
that,
alert?
what you're saying about that merge.
But I know
Spoiler?
nothing. I don't know
Spoiler?
nothing. I don't know. Don't get mad at me, Kate.
Everything.
That's what I love about the show, and that's like kind of like what we've talked about here, where there is a great blend of musical theater and football, so that Friday Night Lights feel, but everything comes
We're
together.
servicing the jocks.
Small
We're servicing
town.
the
Everything.
geeks. It's
But
like,
I feel like we especially see that
There's something for
between
everybody.
Gordy and Gwen's burgeoning relationship, because it's like they come from two separate worlds, you know, the jock realm, the musical theater realm, and they're just coming together, and I love that relationship. I feel like it's definitely going somewhere, and I love that Gordy is finally getting the self-discipline that he really needs and realizing that he has problems, and I feel like Gwen respects him even more for that. Do you think this relationship is going to blossom even more, or are they going to?
Hell's no, dude.
You
It's
know?
high school. Come on. It's like
Name your
they're gonna
point.
fall apart. He's gonna fall in love with the lad.
Well, that's
and
after
then,
high school. That's after
I
senior
mean,
year.
Come
So that's like more like
on.
college or
You guys are
like-
too optimistic. You know, it's
Why
like
are you
nothing
so
lasts forever.
pessimistic?
I'm just a realist. I'm just sorry. I'm just keeping it real.
Well, I
you
think
know?
He's still bitter about his play.
in this episode,
TV show.
I
they're
am.
just gonna get kicked out of the play because
I
they
know.
pissed somebody
I know.
off.
in this episode at least, like you could definitely tell there was like some attraction there. I felt like they were almost like switching roles in this episode.
Yeah.
Really. Like we had Gwen being the sort of rebellious, and I honestly think that it was due to her dad mostly,
Yeah.
and I think that she almost wanted to get caught. It was like more of a
Teenage
crying for
angst.
help,
Yeah.
like, things like that. But I think that maybe Gwen even like influence Gordy to try to get on the right track though, like maybe
Yeah.
leading by example a little bit. So
He needs a mentor, though.
Yeah.
And you know who an amazing mentor is, Taylor?
I think Maria Menounos is.
I think she's
Yeah.
incredible.
If you guys want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of life, we have the podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life. From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and more, let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know it was us, the Rise After Show, that sent you there. Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition, check it out.
Hey, can I
It's
just
wonderful.
add on to that?
Absolutely.
I am the sixth child of 6 kids, so I'm the baby. I have
Aw.
4 older sisters.
Aw.
4 older sisters. But Maria is the older sister that I've always wanted.
Well, that was our podcast.
I mean it.
Amazing.
I mean it.
Yes.
It's weird to say because I've only heard her voice, but she's the older. She's the big
We're gonna
sister.
tell
I've
you
always
said that,
wanted. I
bud.
want to make
We're
it
gonna tell
clear.
you
No,
said
she's
that.
wonderful. She's lovely. She's so smart. Has the
If
best
only I
advice.
had her when I was a young child. If
Oh.
only I had that
Real.
podcast.
We would
back
all be
then.
way more
Yeah.
successful.
I
We
know.
would, yeah, we would all be, yeah, we would all be in a better position. But yeah, I think they would have definitely benefit from this. I feel like they're kind of trying to find their way right now, and you know, obviously at this age, sometimes you don't always connect with your parents. It's a difficult phase when you're going through
Yeah, oh, yeah.
puberty. You're trying to relate with your peers, and even that's hard on many levels, depending on if you feel like you fit in, or a lot of times kids feel like they're the outsiders and no one understands them. There's always that trope in every like high school show, like nobody
Yep.
gets me, no one understands
It's very
me.
like Breakfast Club-ish. And I feel like
Yeah.
one character that kind of embodies that is Robbie, right? The high school
Yeah.
quarterback who's no longer QB1.
Yeah.
And you saw in the actual episode. I feel like the fact that the coach kicked him off the team, do you think it was justified?
It wasn't. He didn't get kicked. He got benched. There's a difference.
Benched is different. He basically
Okay.
got gordied.
He got
Yeah,
Gordy. He got
yeah, we're
benched.
now
He
turning
got
that to a
Gordy.
verb. I love
He
it.
got Gordy.
Yeah, that's what happens. But does that mean like Gordy gets a better position? Like what happens?
I would love to. I seriously would just love to see Gordy play. I want to see what that kid is made of on that football field.
I didn't see Gordy on the field doing anything while Robbie was being benched. I was like, this is his time to shine, finally.
Yeah.
This could be the
He's too
one
busy
thing.
drinking, though. We're trying to kick his drinking habit.
Can I give you
Yeah.
guys a fun fact?
Yes.
I spent many hours out on that field, you know, for some of the scenes that we shot. it was like 87 degrees, but it's supposed to be cold. So like everybody's like out there in like 3 layers and scarves, and they're like, hey, everybody just pretend to be cold. So like you're burning up, but you have like your hand in front of your mouth, like, like you're rubbing your hands together and stuff. Like it's
That's literal
it's kind of-
hell on
it's
earth.
the real
especially
acting.
with
The real acting begins.
they're like, try not to squint at the hot sun as it burns your skin.
How many takes? I mean, how many takes do they have to do for those?
Oh,
scenes?
so many takes.
Yeah, because they have to get like
Because
every
you know the
single
player
angle.
has to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like so, you're just out there rooting for anybody to catch the ball. You're just like, I'll just throw it into that pack over there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So who would you say is the most athletic on the show?
I'm Team Robbie, man. That kid is amazing, and he's super smart. You know, I spent like hours just like when you're not shooting, you're hanging out in one of the classrooms in the place where they shoot in upstate New York. Show shoots in upstate New York,
Spoiler.
as opposed to Pennsylvania. Sure, it's a tax thing,
Yeah.
but it's right outside of Haverstraw, which is like not the most exciting part of upstate New York.
Okay.
No exciting thing happening.
But I'll tell you, the city of Haverstraw, very excited to have you there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
the exciting thing happening is
They-
you all are filming.
They roll out the red lawn for you.
Who would you say is the most like their character on screen versus who's not like their character at all?
Andy Craneful. No.
I mean, this is
Depressingly so.
Yeah, I mean, this is yeah.
How did I hit on my wife? I just took her out to a really awkward first dinner.
That app.
Actually, how did you hit on your
No,
wife?
he did. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
kudos to the writers of this show. They give us so much to work with. I love the apps line. I love Luminous. Like it's not always, as a writer myself, it's not always easy to take source material and translate it to the screen. I think they just do a fantastic job. So shout out to Jason and all those guys. I think Robbie's actually a lot like Damon. I think that is a connection that they share. I think that they're both extremely intelligent, well read. I guess in a way you could. I guess there are differences between them, but the when I look at Robbie, I just see him, and I think that that kid's got such amazing talent, and I think he's just got an amazing career. Obviously, everybody loves auli'i. My kids got very excited. I was like, "Hey, you know that cartoon movie that you guys have watched over and over again?" Like that. I would say the kids are they're so inspiring. They're so, like, you hear all these horror stories about kids being the worst, and I feel like this show is just the opposite. Every kid on that show is just, they're all really great.
I feel
Yeah,
and I
they're
feel
so
like you can kind
talented.
of connect with them a little. I mean, I love Lolette. I think she's great. And
So good.
This is
So
when
good.
we finally see her trying to step into adult responsibilities, even though she's in high school. She has a lot on her plate. Not everyone has that same background she has, but I'm sure it helps a lot of people back home who might be in a similar situation, might not even have the time to watch the Rise show, honestly, if they're in that situation, now that I think about it.
Well, it's funny you
But-
mentioned that. It kind of reminds me of the fact that, like, it's almost the cast is a little bit like Games of Thrones. They're people on the show that I just know professionally that I've never been on set with.
Yeah.
Key is there. Vanessa, Shirley.
Yeah.
Shirley is amazing. Actress, and we've actually had more interactions on social media than we ever had while shooting the show because we never had any crossover. So it's a little bit like, I imagine, Khaleesi texting with Jon Snow for several seasons. They were never on the show at the same time, so they just had to be like, oh yeah, I heard you're shooting in Iceland. Oh yeah, I'm shooting in Madagascar. Okay, cool.
Okay, well, speaking
That's
of
funny how
Vanessa,
that
though,
works,
was
yeah.
anyone else like super mad at her character during this episode?
Kind of, a little bit.
I was like, you gotta step up
She
and
thought
take a
that it was
job you
beneath-
don't want.
Yeah.
Like, your kid is gonna have to work doubles and quit this thing that she loves. Just take something for now and keep looking.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Let your kid experience.
Maybe she's
high
trying to,
school.
like, at the same time, though, she's trying to, like, get a better grasp of her worth and not settle for what's
good
beneath her. So I think there's, like, that struggle where
So you
she's
think, like,
finally trying to step things
Suing
up and stand
someone
up
is
for
probably
herself.
the best idea.
Yeah, Yeah,
get
I
that
mean,
money, right? It's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
let's
sue
say
you.
We live
and,
in a lawsuit
you know,
culture.
it's
Just
like,
sue for
She's
the
a
money.
parent.
I'm gonna sue you. and
Yeah,
that
and
work.
like
You
I
can
mean
have your
that
daughter
that
work.
makes a statement that that's not okay to don't let people treat you like that
Yeah.
because it's not right. So I do get your point though, but I'm still like, dude, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, and let her
Even
be
when
a
you don't want to do
kid.
it, like you
Yeah.
gotta do.
Follow
You
your
as an adult,
child.
that's like legit. As an
But she's
adult,
been
you do
doing
things you
that-
don't want to do.
yeah.
That's the highlight of being an
She's
adult.
been doing that for her whole
highlight of
life,
being an
though.
adult.
She's
I would
been
call it the
supporting
highlight.
life.
Yeah, I would call it the highlight. I'd call it.
But it's
Like,
definitely
it's
something that
B-roll.
happens.
That's the B-roll. Is
Lillette?
It's maybe one of the low lights
Yeah.
of being an adult.
The
But
low-
I hear you. You're absolutely right.
You just do things you don't want to do, but like that's how your bills gotta get paid somehow, and ain't nobody else going to get it but you. So at that point,
Or Lillette. Yeah. One or the other. Either way, it's
Just
gonna
let
get
Lillette sing, guys.
I mean, just let her sing "Mama Who Bore Me." Like just let her do it. I did love that scene though. She came saw her daughter sing, and she felt it, and like the
She had the
one
tears.
tear.
Yeah.
I really wanted to
Yes.
know if she put eye drops in her eye or if she like really just let the tears flow, because that's really difficult to do.
Oh, crying on command.
Yeah.
I just don't.
So difficult.
I am what they call a comedian.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for people who can cry on command, and it's usually really intense when you're in a scene with someone
Of
who's
course.
crying.
It's like physically intense. Your body
Yeah,
shakes.
like
it's
even-
tough.
I hate to say it, even like on Marlon, there was a scene where like Essence Atkins' character had to cry, and even though I was milking my lines for laughs, like when you see, yeah, exactly.
Steve,
actually,
make sure you
actually,
include a
when
laugh
you get
track
the
for
boom,
that.
a little part of me cries on the inside because I realized that we're just clowns without makeup. But Essence crying in that scene was like really intense for me, and I was just you hate to see somebody who you live with essentially when you're shooting and laugh with in that sort of emotional distress. Yeah.
Oh, I love seeing that.
You're so weird, Mina. That's so weird.
Wow.
I see what kind of director
wait.
you shall be.
Yeah, no, I want to see the angst. I want to see the frustration. I want to see the Simon, the back and forth. That's what I
Oh
want to
my
see.
God.
Like
Oh, should we
there's
just
a connection.
let's talk about Simon,
Oh,
right?
He was the
Yeah.
star. He was the
'Cause the
star of
things
this
I
week's
gotta
episode.
say.
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that like he has a guy pursuing him, in addition where he wants to have sex with Annabelle, and I'm just like this entire time I'm just like, how come that could never happen to me or anything else like that? But so yeah, I just I have to give my hat off to Simon.
I'm gonna do it like we in church.
But I mean, interesting enough, one of the comments from last week on YouTube is the fact that someone said that Simon's dad is possibly gay. So I kind of want to hear what your thoughts about that because with the whole
I can see that.
yeah, you
Yeah,
kind
I
of see
can
that.
too.
What do you guys think about that?
I mean, sometimes
Disconnect from mom.
sometimes when you're that like staunchly opposed to something and you're that vocal about it,
Probably
it's because
closeted,
you're trying to
yeah.
repress something yourself. But sometimes you're just like very extreme in your views, and it has nothing to do with that. So it could go either way. I could see the writers playing with that either way.
Some secret.
Me-
Some
Yeah,
You don't
dark
have to raise
secret.
your hand. We're not in a classroom.
No, no, this
Sure,
how we,
that's
this,
a
this
thought.
how we do on Black Lightning because like we wait I'm getting my moment in because look, okay, I'm right. I was right since pilot, and I'm super happy about that. However, I don't think he's like going with Annabelle to have sex just for the sake of having sex. He's trying to use sex as like the man thing to do versus actually being attracted to her, which is totally wrong.
Oh, okay.
sad.
And
So
that-
Annabelle.
I see what
I
you're
know,
saying. So
she's
he's just
being
trying to
used.
have sex with her to prove to himself that he's not gay.
Yes.
Question.
And that's questionable.
I have a legitimate question for you guys. If someone says, I think we should take things to the next level physically, do you guys think that's a normal thing to ask, or does it just
In
happen
high school?
organically?
Not in
Yes.
high. I
Does
don't
anyone
think.
actually say
in
that?
the
Like,
hallway?
I think we should do this. It's like on The Bachelor.
It is-
I want to give you a
Props to
cue.
you.
It is
Like,
better to
it's
ask for
probably in
forgiveness
high
than it is for permission. So.
Props to you for so.
Actually, no. Actually, I'm sorry.
Not
Let me retract
anymore,
that.
though.
Not anymore. I'm
Let's
sorry.
rewind that.
Retract that. Retract.
In today's environment, it might be best to, when in the moment to be like, hello.
Yeah. How are
Will
you?
you allow me to take things to the next level?
Okay.
No? Okay. I thank you for your clarity.
No,
Thank you for your-
let me clarify. Consent is
Sex
very
is not
important.
Yes.
is not
Yes.
Consent is key. I'm
Consent
not
is key.
saying
I'm
consent
sorry.
isn't important. I'm saying the
Yes.
way to ask for consent in that way is so inorganic
It was-
Yeah.
and
It's
cringeworthy.
right.
I was dying. I was like, you can ask for consent in a different way than that.
Well, Annabelle's response was like, okay.
I like to look
Sure.
a person and make extreme eye contact and say, do you consent? No? Okay,
I'm
fine.
like, yes or no.
Sign this
Checkbox.
card.
It's going to be a checkbox.
Sign
Blink
here.
twice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
Oh,
Justin
Law and
Hey.
Order. I like it.
No,
The legal, you know, there are two sides to the legal system. You don't want to deal with either of them. That's what I say.
You just always have to have your contract.
This guy's got
ready.
all the cool sound effects.
You gotta have your lawyer
that.
sitting there while the act is happening. You gotta have a witness in the room.
For high school, yes, I think because Simon is. He's trying to like get it out, like the fact that it is awkward. And
He's trying to overcompensate.
It's very. It's
Trying to
very
overcompensate.
what he doesn't want to admit to himself. Because that kiss was a long kiss between him and Jeremy, which
That's
I love.
refreshing.
In the parking lot, yeah.
Yay! That was like the best kiss on TV. Please be nominated for the Teen Choice Awards. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think Simon should just.
MTV Awards Best
think-
Kiss. Yeah, I'm with
I
you.
would love
I think
that.
Simon should just love Simon. Get it?
Really?
Get it?
I love
Get
that
it?
movie.
Yeah. Simon says that wasn't funny. Simon says.
But your name's not Simon though.
No, Simon says.
Hey,
love
this is
all the fun.
friendly
Wait,
atmosphere.
I hope that we get more
Usually it's
of
like, no.
Jeremy and Simon though, because I feel like I don't feel like it just came from nowhere, but I just
It's
feel like there
important.
needs to be more like build up and like more scenes between them
Mhm.
because I don't really know that much about Jeremy yet, and I really want to know him more as
Because
a character
Simon keeps
before.
avoiding him. We can't learn nothing about somebody when you're avoiding the
Well, I mean,
person.
So-
you can like, have other people talk.
How about
to
we?
him.
How about we get an adult perspective? I want to hear what Mr. Cranepool
Yes.
would say to Simon if he actually saw Simon in this situation.
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I actually think that you know until this discussion, it hadn't occurred to me that maybe Simon had a different reason for wanting to sleep with Ed. But I think that's really interesting. I think that he's got to do a little soul searching, but let's also be very clear. Like you have chemistry with who you have chemistry with. So I think he just has to decide like who is doing it for me, and if he walks into Cranepool's office, I think. Well, in truth, I think that Cranepool, being a science teacher, would probably say, I'm not the person to talk to.
I was honestly thinking, is it appropriate for a teacher to
No,
talk
I don't
to
think
a
it
student
is.
about their sexual choices?
I think
in
that
high
he would have
school?
to.
I mean,
No, but a lot of
And a
students.
mentor,
A
yeah.
lot of
I'm a
students
teacher.
confide in
Yeah.
teachers because they
That's
don't
true.
have that.
It could be a safe space
so,
for them.
So oftentimes.
But you
Such
raise a
a
good point.
tough
Like in today's
territory.
current environment, like who can a student talk? I don't think it's the biology teacher, and it may not even be the guidance counselor.
If you
There
have
has
a
to be
sex
somebody
ed
else who they
Which
feel
leads us to
comfortable
our
sharing
next
it
thing.
with.
What about Sasha and the drama teacher in terms of being pregnant?
I love that the pregnancy
Yeah,
happened
no,
to
I
someone
was gonna-
totally
Right?
random.
Totally
that
random.
We have no connection to because
And-
they couldn't have it happen to a main character because it would be too
and the question is,
controversial.
you don't even know who impregnated her.
Yes, you do. Her boyfriend. That's
Yeah.
why she broke up with him.
Okay.
Who is the father?
Who is the father?
Who is? Let's go on.
You
more.
are not the father.
You are not the father.
Yeah, I want to know more
Yeah.
about her because I feel like she did just kind of come out of nowhere.
Well, it does. Well, it goes back
She's
to your
in
earlier
the-
point about Jeremy. I do think that, again, it's based on source material. There are a lot of characters, mine included, who have to sort of pop in, and you have to sort of give the just as even as an actor, you have to sort of give the audience as much as you can, not just in the words they give you, but in your body language, so that they feel like they know you, and then hopefully they give you like more than just one episode to
Yeah.
sort of find out who those people are. Because yes, it's I will go back to the Game of Thrones things. There are a lot of characters that you have to get to know. So even when I would read scripts, sometimes I'd be like, okay, Sasha is. Oh yes, okay, I gotcha. So
Yeah.
you're not alone.
It's not like Seventh Heaven where they just have the character for that one issue and then you never see the character again.
gosh.
Introduce
No.
another.
Seinfeld had 4 characters essentially.
Yeah.
Like it's
Did I say wait? Seventh Heaven.
No, you
Oh,
said
yeah,
Seventh
yeah,
Heaven, but I'm
okay.
saying
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some
It's just
characters,
Seinfeld,
some
yeah.
shows are literally. Like, I just went to go see A Quiet Place. It literally had 6 people in the entire film.
And you were quiet for like 45 minutes in the movie.
Well,
It was
okay.
just totally
it
silent.
was. I was like, "There's
I
no
loved
way
it.
this Los Angeles audience is going to be quiet for 2 hours." And I will say, you could hear a pin drop.
I had
throughout
it.
that
I
entire
was
movie.
sniffling the entire time, and I didn't even want to breathe because people around me were like listening. I was like,
No,
and it was just so loud.
I was like chewing my popcorn in the most quiet way because I don't know. I don't know who else has seen that movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that movie, A Quiet Place is a pretty phenomenal movie. It stars John Krasinski, and I don't even say too much about the plot.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's
But
amazing.
I love how with this show, it's nothing but quiet. There's always musical performances. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of chaos. A
Yes.
lot going on.
It's an emotional roller coaster,
Um,
right?
Are there
It is.
are there any characters that we haven't mentioned that are really important to bring up before we go into predictions?
Macious.
Macious. Okay.
Yes, please preview.
I mean, that's kind of getting into predictions a little
Well,
bit.
no, because like he built the set like that takes a lot of time. I'm
Yeah.
legit like, dude, like you spend like hours and a days on building this perfect set that actually has steam coming out of a fake like steel. Like that's kind of dope. Like he's actually like really
Kinda,
stepping into his
really.
role.
Although I love the new set though, like it's
Yeah.
taking
Yeah,
the
me too.
actual
Stand-
objects
I love this
from
new set. Yep.
the town
Yeah.
is so cool and different
the
and
stained glass window.
I just want to
Yeah,
know
that's
how they
like,
got that
okay.
railroad crossing. I want to know where they got their railroad crossing. Like, did you like? No, seriously, they're walking across the bridge of this like little waterfall, and they're just holding a railroad crossing sign and the actual lights. So, did you steal it from something that does not work
It
anymore?
could be a problem.
I'm sure it's like a
junkyard.
junkyard. Yeah, I'm sure it's a junkyard.
Yeah.
There's
No,
just
they-
so many
they-
It's a
places
small
to
town.
go.
It's a small town.
Train stuff.
That's a funny thought.
It's such a
though.
small
It's a funny
town
thought
that the
they took it off
police,
an
yeah,
actor
the
for a
police
train.
have nothing better to do than go to an
Show
area
up
that's abandoned that no one cares about and say that people are trespassing. That's how small
I
it
was
is.
really confused about that.
I
called
do.
you?
Now that we're done talking like mainly about every single character, I do want to get into Andy Cranepool, who wasn't mentioned a second in this show, and that's why I'm going to turn it over to Diallo right now.
He's like, what?
For
Put the
potential
spotlight on
spoilers,
you.
I don't know if
Spoilers
I can say anything
Yeah.
about upcoming episodes.
Because he will be
Full
back.
disclosure.
Of course.
Yeah, when do
Full
you-
disclosure.
when
Full
do-
disclosure. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. I think that look, Tracy's love life is something that you're gonna hear, some more about. But to the point that was made earlier, there is a lot more story coming in these final. Coming in the next 4 episodes, so because it is a 10-episode season, so there's some more stuff that's coming down the pipe, but I don't think you've seen the end of Andy. I don't think that's a problem to say.
A wedding? No, too soon.
That might be
Scandal.
a
A
stretch.
scandal.
I will say I don't think they're
I
gonna
don't know
make
about
any
wedding.
big jumps like a wedding. I don't predict that.
What was the most exciting part of working on this show? What was the highlight for you?
Other than my first screen kiss, I will say that working with a cast that, once again, has so much respect for musical theater and realizing that this is a unique opportunity for a show on NBC, on a big show, to sort of portray that in a really real way. And on a personal level, look, I was a huge fan of How I Met Your Mother. I feel like Rosie Perez has been on my own
Legend.
personal radar since I was a kid and watched Do the Right Thing with my parents. It was a chance to work with.
Oh, wait, she said Mookie, right?
Yeah, her scene is
Okay.
not for families,
Yeah.
but it
Just
has
watch
an
the
impression
movie.
on a young boy growing up. So yeah, I mean, working with some people that I really just have admired for a very long time on a show like this. Marlon is a fantastic comedy, but this was also the first hour-long drama I worked on. I mean, like Silicon is technically a comedy, but it's a cable comedy, so there's a lot of serious, acting that's going on there. This was my first hour-long, and to be working with those folks, it was a ton of fun. I should say that we finished shooting the season at the end of last year.
Oh.
Speaking
Okay.
If I'm using the past tense, yes.
What was your audition process for this like?
This is one of those. I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but one of the producers saw some of my previous work, and they offered me this for the role on the spot.
Wow.
Awesome.
So-
Boom.
awesome.
It was like
Was it-
Robbie.
Oh, it was
On the spot. On the spot.
It was one of those few. It was one of those times an actor dreams over. They're like, "Hey, we
course.
really like you. Would you like to do this?"
Yeah.
As opposed to some of the other, 'cause
20 auditions.
Yeah,
know?
yeah. It was
That's
it was
very
really fun, and so I
flattering,
got to
yeah.
fly out, and I got to talk to Jason Capes, creator of the show, and also creator of Friday Night Lights, and I just like how everybody works. Like everybody's just like trying to keep it as real as possible. You're not asked to like vamp it up. Even a character like Andy Cranepool, who's a little bit like the comedic relief on the show, you get to play it real, and to sit across from Miss Rosie Perez and share those long rides back into Brooklyn out of Haverstraw where we got
Not a
to talk
bad
about
job.
everything. What's that?
Not a bad job.
Not a bad way to spend
Yeah.
a couple of weeks of your life. It's pretty special and fun.
When the cameras weren't rolling, who would you say brought in the comic relief?
When the cameras weren't rolling.
Yeah.
Man, believe it or not, there's some really funny people on the crew. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but it's a very happy set. Like, the crew is having a great time. And we did a lot of work out of, I think it's called St. John's High School in Brooklyn. So when we were in Haverstraw shooting, like, outdoor scenes, we were in Brooklyn. And, I some of those people were just tons of fun. and also a lot of them are New York-based actors, so we have a lot of mutual friends. Like I was a writer on Jimmy Fallon for 4 years, so
cool.
you know, a lot of them were friends with Jimmy, and we would share, you know, our Jimmy stories because everybody's like family. Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Marlon,
Yeah.
season 2 is coming
We're shooting
out
season 2
June
right
14th.
now.
You got
in
your
Universal
date?
City, June 14th.
June 4th.
I mean, how can you beat that? It's a Thursday night at 9 p.m. Like that's must-see TV territory. And I never thought I'd ever be on a show that aired at the same time as Cheers and Frasier and Seinfeld. So I feel, you know, very fortunate.
Any, you know, things you can tell us about Stevie?
About Marlon season 2?
Yeah.
Almost like Andy, you know, Stevie's stepping up to the plate and some future episodes with him. And, you know, Again, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I will say that if you like season 1, I think this show is even funnier in season 2. I think that the cast as a whole has gelled, and we're having a great time.
What's your ideal genre to play?
I'd love to play a detective at some point. You know,
Okay.
I'd have the chance to play a lawyer, an unemployed guy on Marlon Wayans' couch. Check that off the list. A teacher. I would love to play a detective. I'd love to, you know, sort of like play a Columbo-esque. And
You have
everybody,
the perfect name
nobody in this
already.
room remembers Columbo actually
do.
being on TV.
I do.
But well, no, it was over by the time actually they had the revival in the '90s, but I didn't watch that. I've watched old episodes of Columbo and the Rockford Files on Netflix, and I'm like, the detective genre needs a reboot. I'd love to see something like that.
I could
come
see
back
you in
around.
Chips. Like I could see you as like an Eric Estrada on a motorcycle.
Or the
bike.
homeless man they arrest. I'd come with it.
You don't
I'm
even
with
need a new name for that. Diallo
I think you
Riddle.
could say you don't even need makeup.
Yeah, you make
You
it-
got homeless down.
Yeah, you're
Diallo
on
Riddle
this
is the perfect detective name. Like you pretty much have everything set for you with those
Excuse me,
glasses.
ma'am. Just a few more
Everything.
questions
Yeah.
from me, Diallo Riddle.
Just a fax, man.
By the way, I think I can say this. Knowing a little bit about what's coming this season on Rise, I can truthfully say, get ready. That emotional roller coaster you guys have been riding.
Oh,
Buckling
I
the
gotta
Some stuff, man. There's some stuff, so you're just gonna have to watch it though.
And the acting is incredible. So
That's
like,
some serious teasing. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I cry whenever something gets emotional. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
And Mina does.
in
Thanks
terms
for throwing me under
in
the
terms
bus.
of predictions,
No,
like
not for me.
I predicted last.
Wait,
I
let's
predict.
get into predictions right now.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
You guys hear that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
It's like a spaceship.
No, it's,
Oh my gosh,
you're going
I'm
insane.
I'm having an episode. I should have taken those meds.
So in terms of predictions, I predicted last week, and I didn't know it was going to happen so soon that someone's going to get pregnant. I think another prediction, what's going to happen is there's going to be a horrific accident. I'm talking about a car crash. I'm talking about someone's going to be permanently like killed off the show, or there's going to be
Why?
something traumatic. I don't know
Because
why.
Friday
It's
Night
just,
Lights.
it's just high school. I mean, that stuff happens in high school. So I mean, that's one of my predictions.
Well, you know,
Thank
the writer
you.
of the creator of Friday Night Lights. So.
After Buzzkill.
Oh my god, I
I
love
love
that.
that.
I can't be
Buzzkill,
the
Mr.
first
After
person who said
Buzzkill.
that. Can't be the
Justin,
first.
I just don't know what kind of high school you went to, man. Like, that's, you're in episode 5 right now.
I know. Hey,
Like,
hey.
episode 6. No, you're in episode 6. Episode 7. We gotta kill some people.
Hey,
Thin the
I
herd.
wanna
We gotta
kill
thin
someone.
the herd.
I mean, it could be like prom night before this whole thing's over. So.
God, the culling of Rise. Holy moly.
Look at the shirt. Like,
Cast
like
is too
he's
big.
in a
Kill
weird
him off,
mood
you
today.
I know. I'm in an X-Files mood today. I'm sorry.
Well, my prediction has to do with a new life because I don't think that we just brought Sasha on to be like a one-off random
Yes.
person.
Yeah,
I
no, I
think
agree.
that Tracy is like realizing kind of like her maternal nature, and I'm wondering if this isn't gonna like give her the inspiration to maybe like adopt a baby of her own, maybe even Sasha's child. I don't know. I just feel like it's really like awakening her like motherly senses, and that's gonna play a part maybe
Oh, that'd
with
be
Cranepool. Who knows?
That'd be
That's
so
very
cool.
interesting.
Well, I'm gonna jump on that because I feel, prediction-wise, that maybe Sasha gets kicked out of her house and she moves in with Tracy, and that really like jumpstarts the maternal thing. And like she's like, okay, you still go to school. I got the baby. I'll take my maternity leave. Even though I didn't have, go through my 9 months. I'll do maternity leave and just like take care of the baby. You still be a kid, but I got you. Like she'll be like that mother, like she didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have a prediction, so to speak, but I'm really worried about what's gonna happen with Macius.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he's my favorite character. And
I feel like Gail's gonna come like mama bear on
Yeah.
somebody.
It was very This Is Us, like in the same style of like
so
the
sad.
Deja character. Her mom comes back, and then Randall. And all
Don't,
this-
don't stop.
First of all,
So,
I
I'm sorry. Spoiler.
Stop
Spoiler.
it.
If you haven't seen season 2.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten that far yet. What can you tell us? What can you tease?
I think I've probably
Yeah.
teased more than I was supposed to.
Teased enough.
So, but what about you? What is your prediction? I don't think you've made one, have you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to I was trying to kind of get a read on you while they were making their predictions.
I know. I have a poker face going right
A
now.
little bit. Couldn't get anything out of that. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next episode. I think definitely we're gonna see Simon fighting his or not fighting his urge anymore to be authentic with who he is. He's gonna start coming to terms with it. I'm pretty sure Lilette already knows what's going on, and she's been hinting at it.
She's
majorly.
like the best friend. Like she's that friend.
Yeah,
that, like, you
she
like,
knows
I know
everything.
you.
She doesn't want to say it outright because she knows how he'll react to it. So I think she's just trying to develop
Smart.
the trust again and have him open up to her. And I think eventually he will tell her first how he's feeling and kind of try to come to terms with everything on his own. So I'm excited to see that aspect. Let us know your predictions in the comments below, actually. What do you guys think is going to happen next episode? I think there's a lot of dynamics going on with so many different characters that there's a million predictions you can make. But yeah, before we leave, where can we find you guys?
Y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
Hey guys, you can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram. Final episode after show of Black Lightning of season 1 is going down at 6 p.m. Tune in, and we might have a special guest for you. Yep, that's it.
You guys can find me on Twitter at alphaba_Ann, on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. The Unreal finale is next Tuesday at 6, and I do the SVU after show every Thursday at 8.
What's up? You can find your boy Jay Yang at Instagram. Pretty simple.
And you can find me in the comments of this, leaving real spoilers under a fake name, because I don't want to get sued. Or you can find me at Diallo, and I'll toe the company line.
Yeah.
Spoiler
I'm gonna hold you
alert.
to that. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram at Mina Makes Magic, and that's all we got for today. Tune in next week, guys. See ya.
Thank you for having me.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.